What's up guys, Silver here with another Spartan Assault achievement guide, and this time the achievement that we're going for actually depends on the version of the game that you're playing. If you're playing on Xbox One or Xbox 360, this will be Part 6, the final installment for the 117 achievement, which is to earn all gold stars in all operation missions. But if you're playing on the Windows Phone or Windows 8 version, the 117 achievement will have already unlocked if you completed all gold stars in Operations A through E, and there's actually a separate achievement for gold stars in Operation F, which is called Tour of Duty. So getting all the gold stars on the Xbox 360 and Xbox One version only gets you one achievement, but there are two achievements for Windows Phone and Windows 8 versions, because those are the two platforms that originally shipped on. And when it first shipped, only Operations A through E came out, and Operation F was actually released at a later time. So by the time the game was released on Xbox One and Xbox 360, they just released all of them at once, so it was only one achievement instead of the two. But regardless, this is the final video for gold stars for Spartan Assault, and we're covering Operation F. And one of the biggest tips I could give you in general if you're having trouble getting to a gold star threshold on any of the missions is to modify your loadouts before you head into a mission. You could change your primary weapon, secondary, armor ability, but the biggest thing I think you could do is add a damage booster. There is a score booster that increases the amount of points you get per kill and everything, but since you could kill enemies faster with the damage boost, you could actually string together a lot more sprees, and you could also finish levels a lot quicker. And those two factors will be able to increase your score more so than a simple score boost would be able to. I'm just going to have a standard loadout for all these missions, but if you're still having trouble even after using these strats, just throw on a damage booster. It should be able to help you out significantly. Also, just something to point out real quick, the gold star thresholds do vary a bit based on whichever version of the game you're playing. There are 4 different versions of this game. There's one for Xbox One, one for 360, one for Windows Phone, and one for Windows 8. So these guides will be based on Xbox One's version, but if you're playing a different version, just be aware you may need to shoot for a different gold star threshold. So let's drop into mission F1 quite literally. We're in a drop pod here. You might kill those grunts, you might not, so take them out if you did not with your drop pod. Throw a grenade at this turret, and we're going to stay in this general area where this turret is, and we're going to blow up the turret with a nade eventually. There we go. And we want to basically stay here. We're going to ignore the main objective for now. We do have 3 minutes from the start of this mission to actually go perform the two objectives, which is blowing up the 2 big turrets in the back of this map. But we are going to basically hang out around here for a while and try to string together as many multi-kills as possible. There's a bunch of grunts and a bunch of elites that come towards you in this area, so we are going to grab a plasma rifle, and we're going to keep our pistol, because we can one-shot the grunts to keep our streak alive, our multi-kill alive. So you want to kind of pace your shots. You don't want to kill everything at once, because then you might not have the ability to keep your spree going, because you want to give the enemy some time to kind of walk towards you, get some reinforcements within range of your guns, obviously, so you could keep the multi-kill going. So try to pace your shots. If you see 5 grunts all lined up, don't kill them all with one nade or anything like that. You want to pace it out. And like I mentioned, that will enable you to continue your multi-kill. Just kind of circle around this general area. You don't want to go too far either way. I'm kind of just hanging out above that turret that I took out in the beginning of this mission. But I like to save the plasma repeater for taking out jackals and elites for the most part, to tear through their shields quickly. And then I like to use the pistol to take out the grunts real quick. And feel free to use plasma grenades as well. It's a great way to take out jackals or elites really quick, because obviously they're the enemies that take more than one shot to kill. So you want to be able to take those guys out quickly sometimes. So throw a grenade. A lot of the enemies drop grenades, and we're killing a bunch of them, so there's a good chance you'll be able to pick up a bunch as well. And I mentioned that I like to use my pistol on the grunts. It's a good idea to melee the grunts for the one melee kill if you can, if they're close enough, because you want to save those bullets for when grunts are far away and you're trying to maintain a multi-kill. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's easy enough to melee them if they're right up next to you. And that way you'll be able to save some bullets for when you actually need them when a grunt's really far away. But once you feel like you've gathered enough points, we're going to go over here and hijack this plasma turret, and we're going to turn it against all the enemies in the area. We're going to take out that other shade turret. We're going to blow up one of the doors to this giant mega turret, and then we're going to walk in here and plant the bomb like we're supposed to. Remember to blow up that shade turret because it does cost a lot of points. Even though it's empty, it does give you a lot of points for whatever reason. So we'll take those free points and walk in here and plant the bomb real quick, and then we'll move over to the other side. Generally, the worst case scenario is you want to start moving towards these turrets with 30 seconds left. That's really cutting it close. It is possible to move from where we're collecting all those points and still get these 2 turrets blown up with about 30 seconds left. But now we're over here at the second giant turret. We blew open the door. We're going to take out this tiny turret in front of it. And you can see I'm using my regeneration field because I had a low shield. So always remember you have that in your back pocket as your armor ability if you ever need it. But once you take out the second turret, you get a fresh countdown timer of 2 minutes, and with that 2 minutes, you need to clear all of the enemies in the stage. So there's actually not too many. There's usually more at this point. But we cleared out everybody except for the Wraith. There's no more reinforcements except for this one Wraith that comes in from the shield door over here. And usually I take them out and I get a lot of points for killing the Wraith, but I actually weaken it to a point where the driver gets out and then the mission ends. So you don't want to do that because this is worth a good chunk of points here at the end that you could get. So on your run through, just make sure you take them out real quick, throw a bunch of grenades at them real quick so the pilot can't get out, or just make sure there's at least one more enemy on the map, and that way you can take more time with this Wraith if you need to. But we only needed 120 and we got 147, so we're going to go on to the next mission where we hop into this Grizzly tank. It's a beast. We're just going to roll through this mission and destroy everything we see. And this is a fairly easy mission to hit the par score, or not the par score, the gold star threshold. Essentially, it's a par score. But anyway, you can see I took out my friendly tank. That is not an error. That is because I want to get all the kills for myself. I'm a greedy player, not a team player here. We need these points to get that gold star. So I took them out. And as we roll through here, we're going to destroy all the enemies as we come upon them. Nothing too notable here, but we are going to go up to the right side of this middle turret. Usually I like to go down to the left if I'm trying to play it safe, because these enemies you don't have to kill necessarily. You could just leave them up here. But since we're going for points, we're going to go up here and take them out. You can see there's the turret, there's a Wraith. There are some additional infantry enemies up here, and we're going to take out this middle turret from above. You could cut down to the left and come up from the other side to them, which I actually do in my general completion of this mission guide. It's a little safer, but again, we're going for the kills here. We're going for the points. So just follow this path. We're going to wrap around here. Beware of the suicide grunts in the area. You can see I was kind of not moving forward very quickly there because I know there's a suicide grunt there, so we killed him. Loop around here and take out this third mega turret. And basically, you just want to complete this mission fairly quickly so you get a decent time bonus, but also make sure you're taking out all the enemies along the way, which is fairly easy with this giant tank. But with that said, you want to make sure you're continuously firing both your main gun and the chain gun. Make sure you take out that shade turret to the right before you move to the left and take out this fuel rod turret. They're going to move up, and there's a handful of infantry up here, so take them out. Beware of the Wraith coming from the shield door on the left here. So as you're taking out these guys and getting a good multi-kill, make sure you keep an eye on your backside right there. And then also, you want to move forward. Keep firing because, as I mentioned, you want to keep firing continuously. Even though you can't see enemies, you could reach them with your main gun. It shoots off screen and continues going until it hits something, whether it's a piece of scenery or a rock or it actually is an enemy. So you could get those kills continuously and keep your sprees and multi-kills going. So we're moving up here, the fourth and final turret. And you can see there's some more infantry here. We could just nade them or do whatever you want to do. We do have a bunch of nades because we have not gotten out of the tank yet. We've been in it the whole time. So you have 6 nades here to start. And I missed with that nade, but we'll throw another one. And we got him with that one. And once you get to the last nav point, it will finish the mission. So we cleared the gold star threshold pretty significantly. We needed 120, and we rolled in with a hot 159.50. So we're moving on to the next mission, F3. We are going to tear into these guys with our plasma repeater. There are a bunch of grunts, jackals, and elites. There is a shade turret as well up here, so we're going to nade that guy in a hot second. Start firing on him a little bit with our plasma repeater before throwing a nade, so it takes him out. It takes a little bit more than a nade to take out those shade turrets. We're just going to continue our reign of terror. We got a couple Marine buddies helping us out here as well. They might take some kills, but that's totally fine. We're going to get the majority of our points after this first segment. So we're going to move over here and take out these enemies. There's usually a couple at least hiding in the corner, so we can see this time there are 2 grunts and an elite. And I'm just realizing that my plasma repeater ammo is at 0, so I switched to my needler to take out those last guys. And I want to make sure that I have full plasma repeater going into this next segment, so I'm going to run up here. This crate is full of plasma repeater ammo, so I filled that up. I'm going to move over here and exchange my armor ability for the regeneration field, and I'm going to take out that last empty turret there for some more points. And then I'm going to hang out at this door, and we are going to take out all the enemies that come through it. So that was an elite, but usually there's just a ton of grunts that pile in through here. And as they spawn into the map, you could just simply melee them to death and really get a ton of points. So we're just going to sit here. As they come through, we're going to get a bunch of Killionaires and just rack up the points. And that is where we are going to get the majority of the points here. But as we maintain this multi-kill, this giant set of Killionaires that we're getting from the grunts coming through here, we are going to experience pressure from the left. You can see there's some jackals and elites over there. Simply throw some grenades at them from time to time to push them back, and also obviously get kills and points while you're getting these melee kills on these grunts coming through the shield door. And obviously remember that you have that regeneration field, so if you ever do get low on shielding, you could always deploy that. But once you feel like you have enough points and you're starting to feel like you're getting overwhelmed over here, we could actually retreat to a section of the map that is pretty safe. For whatever reason, most of the enemies don't really seem to mind you being over here. They just kind of leave you alone, except for the buggers. And these buggers we could just take out really easily by just smacking them. And basically we could just keep gathering points from these buggers as they spawn and come over the cliff, kind of like what we were doing with the grunts when they spawned and came through the shield door. And as for the rest of the enemies, the elites, the brutes, the jackals, they tend to stay very far away from you and kind of let you do your own thing over here. and just deal with the buggers. One of the other enemies that are non-buggers may happen to come over here and charge your position, but for the most part, they stay very far away. So just be prepared to deal with one or two enemies on foot, possibly. Sometimes some of these non-bugger enemies will stand around and just kind of stare at you, and it's kind of at a safe distance, but it's a little too uncomfortable, so you could just throw a grenade at them or something like that. We finally got an elite to charge our position here right at the end. But before we go over the bridge, we are going to exchange our plasma repeater for a plasma pistol. We're going to switch to our needler real quick and take out these suicide grunts as they come across the bridge. And then we're going to activate our regeneration field and switch to our plasma pistol. Hold down the trigger for a little bit so it charges up a shot. And this overcharged plasma pistol burst will actually stun the Wraith when it connects with it. So once that happens, you want to go to the side of it and hijack it. You could try to hijack it without stunning it, but that's a little more dangerous because he could try to splatter you. And in this playthrough, I have enough points to get the gold star, so I could simply go to the end of the bridge and finish the mission. But if you need more points, you could just go back the way you came with this Wraith that you just hijacked, and use this Wraith to easily take out all the remaining enemies that are in this area. And that will obviously increase your score a little bit and hopefully put you over the edge so you get that gold star. But if you need even more points after doing that, don't go to the end of the bridge just yet, because that will end the mission. You want to get out of your Wraith, turn around, and throw 2 or 3 grenades at it, and that will blow it up, and you'll get a good chunk of points from that as well. So with all those strategies, you should be able to comfortably get a gold star in this mission. We roughly doubled the gold star threshold here. Maybe not quite double. Double would be 190. We got 178 though, well over 95, so that's the whole point. And we are on to the next one, F4. We're going to start this mission with a little bit of a tedious exercise, and that exercise is kill as many of these invisible sword-wielding elites as possible with your plasma repeater. And the reason you want to do it with a plasma repeater is because of the fact that it's a rifle and you'll get a rifle spree. So we're really going to bank on getting sprees to increase our points here in the beginning of this mission. So you want to make sure that you get these sprees and you maintain these sprees. And in order to do that, you need to not take any damage. So you want to make sure that these Marines are near you at all times. So if you're ever charged by these sword-wielding elites, you could just simply run behind them and the elites will become distracted by those Marines. So just kind of keep the Marines between you and the sword-wielding elites at all times if possible. And that way you'll be safe from said sword-wielding elites. And you actually get a ton of reinforcements. I'm pretty sure it's infinite. It seems that way at least. So if these 2 Marines go down, they'll be replaced by other Marines. And just keep cycling through for what seems like forever. Kind of annoying at times because I want to get kills and they sometimes steal them from me. But good in that they preserve my sprees because I'm using them as meat shields. But you can see I'm just staying in this general area. There's a bunch of elite reinforcements that come from the top left. And in this crate right here, there's infinite plasma repeater ammo. So I just keep going back to that to fill up my plasma repeater. And just rinse and repeat, basically, until no more reinforcements come. There are a bunch, so you get a lot of points here. And you can see right there, I actually put myself behind those Marines because that elite started charging me. So by going behind the Marines, I had the Marines distract the elite, and they took the damage instead of me. So that's basically what I was talking about earlier. And another elite is charging me, so I'm going to go back behind the Marines, and same thing there. The Marine died instead of me, so I actually picked up his assault rifle. I switched out my shotgun for the assault rifle because the assault rifle is obviously a rifle as well. So that maintains the rifle spree that I mentioned earlier that we're going for. So you can get kills with the assault rifle or the plasma repeater. And by doing this, we're maintaining 2 different types of sprees, so we're maximizing the amount of points we could get. We're getting just general killing spree for just killing enemies with any weapon, but we're also getting that rifle spree that I was talking about. And we're almost done with this opening strategy here. You should get a little bit more than 40,000 points after doing this if you don't get hit by any of the elites. So we just have one more, I think, left here, and we'll take him out, and then we'll move on to the next section. So again, he charges us. We make sure to get those Marines in front of us so they take the brunt of the charge, and then we can mop them up and get those points. So I think that's about it for the reinforcements here. Just waiting a little bit to see if any more come, but it looks like they're done. Still just hanging out, waiting for any last elite challengers that come our way, but it doesn't look like there are any. So we're going to move on to the first orb that we're going to take out. There are 3 glowing orbs in this map. We need to take out all 3. It doesn't matter what order we do them in, but I'm going to go to the left first, and I'm going to cloak myself and fail to take out anybody with this cloak. But that's all right. I got hit, and I unfortunately lost my spree there, but that's okay. We're going to need the turret so they stop shooting us, and then we're going to tear into these elites. There's going to be elite reinforcements from the shield door on the left, and there's also going to be reinforcements coming from behind us, so be aware of that. But we do have our 2 Marine buddies, and if they die, there will be reinforcements as well. But there's all kinds of elites here. There are the blue, red, and invisible elites in this section, and there's a handful of waves, so we're just going to take them out as quickly as we can. Make sure to keep your Marine buddies in between you and the sword-wielding elites, and be sure to use grenades as you see fit, especially the plasma grenades, because the enemies drop a lot of those on this map, and there are a lot to be found in crates randomly scattered throughout the map as well. But we're coming upon the last waves of enemies in this area, so we're going to take these guys out, and then we're going to blow up the orb. So the orb is the last priority. If you're just kind of blazing through this mission, you're speedrunning it, you just take out the orb and then leave, but we kind of want to get these kills so we get all the points that are associated with them. And it looks like we got 2 remaining invisible elites, and that will be the end of it. 1 more now, and we'll progress to the next orb shortly. If he goes down, there he goes. Okay, now we could take out this glowing orb without having to worry about anybody shooting us or stabbing us or, just hurting us generally. The quickest and easiest way to take out these orbs is by chucking 4 grenades at it, so that's what I did right there. And now I'm going to fill up my grenades again. There's a crate right there. You can see I just grabbed those, and grab some more if you need to from any dead enemies that have dropped some, potentially. And we're going to move on to the next section. We're back where we were. We were kind of farming all those invisible elites. There's no more to be had here, unfortunately. We're going to move over here, and once we cross this bridge for the first time, there's going to be 3 buggers that spawn in. And so we're just going to melee them real quick to get some kills and some points. Then we'll move on, and there's going to be a bunch of buggers that spawn up like that randomly throughout the mission. So I'm just going to kind of inch forward slowly so I could make sure I take out all of them and get as many points as possible. But before that, it looks like there's an invisible elite here, so be on the lookout for those guys. More buggers have spawned in, so we're going to take out these guys. Unfortunately, our Marines like to take away these kills sometimes, but if you do get a shot on a random enemy and then they're killed by Marines, you will get points for that. So I like to try to focus on getting shots on all the enemies, not necessarily taking them out very quickly. So that way, if my Marines take them out, whether by shooting them or nading them or meleeing them themselves, I get points for those as well. So you'll see me randomly just shoot at a bunch of them without necessarily focusing on one individually. So that way, I get the points for most of them at least. And here you should be able to get a bunch of multi-kills. Unfortunately, I didn't really get that many because there are a bunch of buggers that come over the cliff there, but that was a little sloppy, but that's all right. But anyway, you can see here the automated turret is shooting at me. Get him to shoot at you and then just move behind the orb itself, and you could get the turret to shoot the orb and kill it. I sped it up a little bit by throwing a couple grenades at it right at the end there, but you could just have him take it out entirely. If I waited a little bit longer there, the turret would have started up again and took out the remaining health of that orb. Definitely a great strategy if you're concerned about conserving your grenades. But we're going to continue through the mission and just be aware of the buggers coming up from below you, again, like we have been. And there are going to be random invisible elites as well, like we have been dealing with. So same old thing, just moving to the next orb. And this orb, there's going to be some jackal reinforcements coming from the shield door on the right, and there's going to be jetpack brutes that come in from the top and the bottom of the map. So just be aware of that. I like to tear into the brutes with my assault rifle, and I like to throw grenades at the jackals for the most part, because it's annoying dealing with their shield, so I just avoid that entirely. Just stick them with a nade, and they go down in one blast. But if you're ever low on shield and you need a breather, you could always cloak yourself and retreat, and the enemies don't really follow you from one section to another. So if you're in this encounter right now and you have no shield, you could just cloak yourself, run back towards the middle of the map, and you could just kind of wait for your shield to recharge before you come back here and engage the enemies again. So that's another benefit of killing all the enemies along the way. Obviously, we want to kill all the enemies for points, but also when we do need to retreat, we can actually safely retreat to an area where there's no enemies. If we just skipped a bunch of enemies when we did retreat, we would basically be going back to an area where there's still a bunch of enemies alive because we never ended up killing them. So definitely kill all the enemies as you move through the mission for points, but also so you have a safe haven when you do need to retreat. And we killed all the enemies here, and we're going to do the same thing. I got the turret to fire at me, and then I went behind the orb here, but it looks like it needs to recharge right before, getting to the orb. So I just stepped in front of it again, and then moved behind the orb, and it will do some damage here. And that way we'll be able to save some ammo and some grenades. Looks like I shot a brute shot at that thing, and the splash damage killed one of my Marines. But that's alright, there's an infinite supply of them. We'll just get another nameless Marine to take his spot, and then we'll move on. So we took out the final orb, and now we need to find the door to the shrine, which is over here to the left. We're just going to move in this direction. There's going to be one last group of buggers that come up from below, so we'll take these guys out for some points. Just melee them real quick, or shoot them if they're far away. And then we'll move in this direction, just keep going over here. And there's going to be a handful of jackals, grunts, and elites. And one thing you could do over here is cloak yourself and then hijack that turret and use it against all the enemies in the area. But I'm actually just going to tear into these guys with my assault rifle and grenade that shade turret. And then I'm going to use my brute shot. I exchanged my plasma repeater for a brute shot back at that last orb. I'm going to use this brute shot to one-shot kill these jackals. Then we'll move to that nav point, that console, to open up this door. Then we'll move to the nav point in this door, and that finishes the mission. And we're going to wind up with no time bonus since we took our sweet time in the beginning, but we did get 129 and we only needed 120. So this is a tough mission. You might want to throw on a score booster for that one. But we're going to move up here, and I like to quickly take out one of the red elites with a frag grenade, and then use the assault rifle to take out the other red elite, and use the SMGs for the grunts real quick and try to get a multi-kill. My teammate took my last kill there, but that's okay. But after we take out those guys, I moved over to the crate on the right and grabbed those plasma grenades, and I'm going to grab any grenades that were dropped by the grunts or elites right there, then lead the engineer to that central console, and we're going to defend him for a few seconds to start here. And there's a bunch of buggers that come from the middle, so I'm just going to melee them as they come up over the edge here. And if they're too far away, you can just SMG them real quick to get a multi-kill. And there's going to be grunts coming from the bottom left, bottom right, or top left and top right. They kind of come from random places. So you could try to kill those guys with SMGs as well to keep your multi-kill going. And you do have sprinting in this mission, which is going to come into play. But once we're done protecting the engineer, we want to go to one of the areas of the map where the grunts are coming from, and hopefully they'll continue to come through that shield door, and we can continue getting a bunch of multi-kills like we did in previous missions. So hopefully the grunts will start piling in from this shield door. Unfortunately, they don't here. A lot of times they do if you find the right one. But looks like we'll have to continue on through this mission without getting that massive Killionaire streak. But we'll come upon that a little bit later in this mission. You always want to be on the lookout as you circle around this map for a shield door that a bunch of enemies are just piling through, so you can get those multi-kills going. But you want to make sure that you take the time to take out the 3 orbs in this mission. You need to take those out before the countdown timer in the top center of your screen hits 0. So since we didn't get a good multi-kill going in the beginning there, I decided to take out that orb on the left real quick, and I will do the same thing now on the right because there's not really any enemies in the area. So we'll take these out with 4 grenades. And then if there's no enemies in our area, we will go to the 3rd and final one. And then we won't have to worry about that later in the mission. We could just focus on getting kills. And it looks like that's what's happening. There's no reinforcements coming our way, at least at the moment. So we'll just take these out and not have to worry about it. So for orange grunts that are far away, I like to use the SMGs to take them out. And for white grunts or any other type of enemy, I like to use the assault rifle if I'm far away. But if I'm close, I like to just smack them because it takes 1 smack to kill them. It's very quick and you save your ammo. And for suicide grunts, you want to take them out when A, they're far away from you so you don't get damaged, but also while they're far away from other enemies, because when you kill them, they'll drop their grenades and they'll obviously explode. So you might end up taking out a bunch of enemies, but you will actually not get points for that. So if they drop a grenade and blow up like 6 of their friends, you only get points for that 1 suicide grunt you killed. At this point, I'm just going to run to the other side of the map because I'm getting low on shield. There's an elite trying to stab me. So you want to be on the lookout. Eventually, a sword-wielding invisible elite will spawn in. So that is what was happening over there. He'll follow me over here eventually, but you could be safe over here for a short time while your shield goes up. So you want to use sprint whenever you're kind of being overwhelmed. You could just sprint to the other side of the map, and most likely none of the enemies will be on the other side of the map because they're all kind of gathering around you, so you could use that kind of as a reprieve. But remember that we're going to the corners of the map, and we always want to keep an eye on these door shields. They're in the bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right. And hopefully we'll be able to find a place where a bunch of grunts are coming through, and we'll be able to just get a ton of multi-kills going like we did in previous missions. So that's what's happening here. Fortunately, we found a spot where there's a bunch of enemies coming through, so we're just going to melee them as they spawn into the map. And also we're going to use the enemies that are coming from other directions to kind of fill the gap between spawns so we could get a good multi-kill going. So you can see that's what we did here, and we got a bunch of points, and we should be good now for the rest of the mission. We're getting towards the end here. So if you find that you have enough points, you can play a little more conservatively, and you don't have to kind of put yourself at risk as much just to get points. So you just want to be on the lookout for the big enemies, and that would include the red elites with the focus rifles. There's also the invisible sword-wielding elite, and towards the end there will be a brute chieftain as well, so definitely keep an eye out for him. And you want to have your sprint recharged as it hits 0, so you can kind of sprint away and sprint to the final nav point, which will be over a hard light shield bridge that will form in the middle of this circle here. So that's what happened here. We are going to sprint away from these guys, and I'm actually clearing out some more enemies for some extra points at the end. You don't have to do that, especially if you have more points than you need. Just showing you that you could get a few more kills after that hard light bridge forms. There is actually another countdown that starts, and you need to cross the bridge before it hits 0, or you will fail the mission and you'll have to start over again, which would suck because it takes like 5 minutes to get back to this point. But after we finish mopping up all these enemies, we got to the middle and queued the little animation, and that will finish the mission, and we'll go to the post-game summary here, and we got 139, we only needed 110, and that's the final mission in this game, guys. Congrats. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You could also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you could find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.